Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday was a good night for this game and let's say tricky pick of selection between the man and machine. Man was good, machine wasn't so great. St. Louis won in overtime 5-4. They were leading 3-0, but let Minnesota came back. And at the end, this coin flip went to our side, plus 124. Very nice victory for a road team that still fights for the last playoff spot. And then Islanders Rangers local matchup in New York, pretty much like predicted, under 5.5 goals. It was 4-0 for Islanders. Rangers couldn't get scoring going. Varlamov played very well in Islanders goal, as well as the whole team defended all the time without any hesitations. And 4-0 was a very convincing win for Islanders that is still pushing for the top spot in the division. Tommy, we are again on a green.
Yeah, great way to start Friday is to go in the green for these games. Pretty much exactly the same as last time in Minnesota. St. Louis Blues now the team that maybe lost a little bit their edge in the end after leading the game. So Minnesota got back to the game and took it to overtime. But still St. Louis was the more hungry team here, and they did deserve their win. Pretty much the same numbers as last time as well. So a good pick with great value. You can see that these small margins are now in play when the teams are very evenly matched. The team that has more motivation, has a little bit more of the push, will likely take these. So a good value from there. Similar thing in New York. Rangers pretty much out of the picture of the playoffs. Islanders have been playing a little bit worse than they were early on the season. Now they got their game going, and it was a perfect match for them. This sort of game that Rangers tried to play mostly offense, and then they allowed Islanders to take the turnovers, turn the puck over to create a lot of chances. So it was a great show of how good Islanders can be if the other team is not capable of taking care of the puck. Like Rangers were now a bit sloppy, and Islanders hit back instantly, and they never allowed Rangers any chances to get back in the game. So 0-4, a great under. Could have been even less goals, actually. It was 4 goals, maybe 2 goals too much for Islanders, but good game from both goalkeepers. Defensive battle by Islanders, exactly the way that they play best, and Rangers a little bit disappointing in the offense, but for us, very good result is that they were shut out completely tonight.
In Central Division, all these favorites, Tampa at home, Carolina at home, and Florida on the road, took a victory, and Dallas wasn't too ready to meet their Stanley Cup finalist comrades from the last year. 3-0 was quite a one-way street at the end, and Vasilevsky played pretty well, as we expect him to play in Tampa's goal.
Yeah, Tampa Bay definitely tightened up their game compared to how they played against these a little lesser opponents. So now they had faced their nemesis from last season's finals, and they played one of the better games of their season so far. So very impressive, especially in front of the goal. They didn't allow a lot of space. Vasilevsky, of course, when he's playing at his best, he's the best goalkeeper in the league. So difficult to score against. Dallas did what they could, but this time it wasn't enough. Let's see. It will be interesting to see when these teams meet again, if they meet in playoffs, especially how Dallas will approach the game, because it seems that they haven't found the way to break down the Tampa Bay yet.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if Tampa is now stabilizing their performance to the level, or are they still losing the gas a little bit for these last regular season games, because they are already in playoffs, and it's now just a question which team they want to play against. Are they really shooting for the top spot in division and trying to meet either Nashville or Dallas or are they ready to fight against tougher opponents on the first round in form of Carolina or Florida?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that every team wants to finish the regular season victorious. So I think the last couple of games they will play as if it was already playoffs for them, because it's important not to get this sort of downward spiral at the end of the regular season. We've seen what happens to those teams that take it too easy in the end of the regular season, and then in the playoffs they can't find their game again. So I don't think Tampa will do that mistake again.
Yeah. In North Division, Calgary is still trying to give some kind of push for the playoff spot. They won Edmonton on the road 3-1, and it was, let's say, typical Edmonton game in that sense that whenever they are not getting 5 or 6 goals, they are in trouble. So they are giving up 3 to 4 goals per game, and that's pretty much standard every game, especially when their top guys are not holding the puck in offensive zone all the time.
Yeah, it was a very good game from Calgary, who just don't seem to let go. So they are still in contest, 4 points between them and Montreal. Montreal has 1 game in hand, so they have definitely, Montreal has the advantage here. But these sort of wins over teams that are already in the playoffs, like Edmonton, well, Edmonton actually needs a point more, but very close to it. So a better team. Calgary managed to beat them on the road, playing Calgary Flames ice hockey exactly the way that they need to play, very tight on defense. They didn't allow Connor McDavid or Draisaitl to do their magic. So in a way, very boring kind of victory, but this is how Calgary can beat the better teams. And if they keep on doing this, they might just climb over Montreal, if Montreal, on the other hand, is not playing as expected. And that's something that we would definitely like to see, because we did predict pre-season that Calgary will be over Montreal in the playoffs.
Yeah, and we'll put money where our mouth is starting for tonight. We have been doing this all the season, but Winnipeg goes to Montreal, and road team has good 110 plus odds. They have a favorite in simulation, and Montreal, like I said, has been overperforming based on the simulations, and especially the bookmakers have give very low odds for them, even though the performance recently hasn't been so great. Then other game, Kings goes to Anaheim, Honda Center, game that hasn't at the end too much on stake, and our simulations show very clear under here. Both teams are struggling scoring, and like 2014, one of the cornerstone of Kings Stanley Cup victory was goalkeeper. That's how we see it also tonight, that if it's Mr. Gibson and either Quick or then Peterson, there would be goaltending clinic in Anaheim, especially with under minus 114 odds. This is another good pick for tonight.
Yeah, let's start from the California. When you compare these teams together, they're very similar in a way, in a similar place as well. Both pretty much out of the playoffs. Both teams have better goaltenders than they do scorers. So that's one of the things that the simulations especially take into consideration when the under is 78.7% in the simulation. So we are expecting neither of these teams capable of scoring a lot of goals. Of course, a little bit of a problem might be that there is not much to play, so it could be a sort of coast-to-coast ice hockey game. But if these teams want to practice and want to show that they are able to play like they maybe should play, a little bit more defensively, it might just be under as well. And to be said, that's being said, Anaheim also has a lot of injuries, so there are a couple of top guys away. So even if their scoring has been bad, it's probably going to be even worse tonight. So there's a good chance for Kings to get a road victory here and very low scoring game. And then our favorites here, Montreal, to play against, Winnipeg to play for. So they have served us really well this season. Now it's a bit of a tricky situation. Jets have lost at home 6 games in a row, heading to the playoffs, a very bad spot for them. They are not as bad as they've seemed to play in the last couple of games. There has been a little bit of changes they tried, so maybe due to that they have lost a little bit, let's say, easily these games that they should have probably won. Montreal, on the other hand, is fighting for their life. Like we mentioned, Calgary is coming from behind. Canadiens are able to stop Winnipeg, but in this sort of game, I think it's much more of a coin flip and much closer to Winnipeg's win than Montreal's, especially because Jets do have to start winning before the playoffs start. In the simulations, we have Winnipeg going 54% of the time, so it's a great value with these odds of plus 110.
So far, Winnipeg has won 6 out of 8 games. This is the last game in regular season between these two teams, and Winnipeg has really struggled during the last games in scoring. In last 5 games, the average score, what they've done is just above 1 goal, and you know that when you score only 1 goal or decimals top of it, it's very difficult to win games at the end. And I think Winnipeg has chances to get the ketchup bottle open again and score much more like they have been doing earlier in this season.
Yeah, all of those games they've struggled scoring, but they have shot 30 or more shots on goal. So they are creating chances. They are a little bit, dare I say, they look a little bit like Vegas did last season in the playoffs, that they are creating chances, they're getting there, but just the final push is missing. So this is something that is probably mentally really tough for them because they are creating the chances. They were a better team, I'd say, at least in a couple of these games that they lost to Edmonton, Toronto. But this is the thing that they need to get better now, 100% concentration and just put the puck in the goal and get it going. So very basic things to do for Jets. They are a better team than Montreal in our papers. So let's see that if these odds pay out this time.
There are 2 other games in West Division tonight. Colorado hosts San Jose and Vegas goes to Arizona. Do you think these big favorites, Colorado and Vegas, have some value to bet?
Yeah, according to simulations, Colorado has value, Vegas does not, but we don't trust the simulations on Vegas anymore because they are not rating them good enough because just what I said, they are not shooting enough, they're not creating enough chances, but they are putting the puck in the net, so that's why they're winning. In the simulations, it is Arizona who has the value 44% compared to the odds of 34%. So there is home underdog value for Arizona, but I would stay away from this game because Vegas has been very good this season. That being said, they have already secured their place in the postseason, so maybe there is some sort of rotation, but I wouldn't trust Arizona in this case. Colorado, on the other hand, has a lot of value. Even with these lousy odds, the odds are at minus 323, which is 73%, but the simulations have them winning 77%, which is a massive number again. I do think that they get Jonas Donskoi and Mikko Rantanen back tonight, so it's a massive boost for the whole team. I do think they will return to their winning ways, and San Jose has nothing to play for. They have not been very good lately, so I think Colorado is the team to go for if you want these very low odds but good chances of winning.
Yeah, I agree that Vegas has been undervalued by the simulations because now they've won 10 games in a row, and Arizona, that is still fighting for the playoff spot, not maybe very high probability to get it because good performance of St. Louis and 2 wins in a row on the road against Minnesota, but they've lost 9 games out of last 11, so only 2 victories when you really need to win the games, and that maybe shows that Arizona is not any kind of team for the playoffs this season.
Yeah, no, I think they're out of it, and it shows when they need to win, they can't improve. So we've seen that time and time again now. So they had a lot of chances to turn the tide, but they couldn't do it. So I think Arizona is out, and also it's a young team; they are still growing. So maybe next season, maybe the season after that. Who knows where Arizona is going? But yeah, I do think Vegas is so much stronger that I would not trust the simulations on this one.
Yeah, sometimes men's got to do what men's got to do and skip the simulation and think with their own brains.
Go with your gut.
Exactly. We'll do that and we'll check these 4 games tonight. We'll be back 1st of May. New month, new picks.
See you tomorrow.